Hello and welcome to Lantern Lane Stories. Tonight's story is Knut, the bear who won Berlin's hearts. Berlin in December smells like pine needles and cold stone. The street lamps make soft orange rings on the snowy pavements. By 4 in the afternoon, the sky turns deep blue and quiet. Inside the Berlin Zoo, the animals settle down for the night. The wolves curl into tight gray balls. The big bears breathe slowly in their warm dens. Even the peacocks tuck their bright feathers away. But in the polar bear enclosure, something new is happening. A polar bear named Tosca has just given birth. It is the 5th of December, 2006. 2 tiny cubs lie on a cold gray rock. Tosca is 20 years old, tall and white, and very heavy. She was born in Canada and once performed in a circus in East Germany. She looks at her cubs. Then she turns and walks to the far side of her enclosure. She does not come back. Nobody knows exactly why. Perhaps the years of circus life had changed something deep inside her. The zookeepers watch from above. Outside the zoo, snowflakes spiral down past the yellow lamplight. Inside, the air smells of damp straw and cold iron. The keepers move without a sound. They reach out with a long fishing net. Gently, very gently, they scoop the 2 tiny cubs to safety. Each cub fits in the cup of 2 careful hands. 4 days pass. The first cub grows sick with an infection. He does not survive. 1 cub remains. He has small round ears and black eyes like cherry pits. He is no bigger than a guinea pig. The keepers name him Knut. Thomas Dörflein had spent 26 years at the Berlin Zoo. He was a quiet man from the Spandau neighborhood of the city. He cared for the wolves in the mornings and the bears in the afternoons. Animals seemed to trust him the way children trust a favorite teacher. When the tiny cub needed a keeper, Thomas was chosen. First, Knut went into an incubator. It was a warm, humming box like a small glass cave. The air inside stayed soft and steady like a gentle hand. Knut slept there, curled and round, rising and falling with each small breath. For 44 days, this warm box was Knut's whole world. Every 2 hours, day and night, Thomas came with a bottle. The milk was mixed with cod liver oil. It smelled richly of the sea. Knut grabbed the bottle with both paws and drank with his whole face. Milk dripped from his chin. Thomas wiped it away with a soft cloth. He gave the little bear a gentle pat on the back. During the day, Thomas bathed Knut in a small basin of warm water. Knut would splash and shake and completely soak Thomas's boots. Thomas did not mind at all. He rolled a small ball across the floor. He made low and steady sounds for Knut to listen to. Knut would bat at Thomas's fingers with paws the size of a baby's fist. He made small rumbling noises like a tiny engine turning over. Sometimes he made a sound almost like a purr. He always seemed to know when Thomas was coming before he could even see him. At night, Thomas did not go home. He spread a mattress on the cold concrete floor right beside Knut's sleeping crate. The room smelled like hay and warm fur and just a little like fish. From a high window came the faraway sounds of the city. A distant tram, wind moving through the oak trees. Thomas slept lightly. Every small sound from the crate woke him up. "I am right here," he would say softly. And Knut, hearing that low, steady voice, would settle back to sleep. When Knut was 4 months old, Thomas made him something new. He stirred together warm milk, vitamins, and a little cat food into a thick porridge. Knut would push his whole face into the bowl. He would look up at Thomas with porridge on his nose. Thomas laughed every single time. It was a quiet laugh, but a real one. Knut grew stronger every week. His fur became thick and white like a cloud you could touch. His paws widened. His eyes grew bright. He had never known his mother, but he had known the warm hum of the incubator. He had known the smell of cod liver oil and soft hay. He had known the voice that always answered in the dark. For Knut, that was home. In early 2007, a German newspaper printed something surprising. An animal activist said Knut should not be raised by human hands. He said it was the wrong thing to do. Suddenly, people all over the world had very strong feelings about one small bear. Children wrote letters to the zoo. "Please let Knut live," they wrote. "He is so sweet." Adults sent emails from France, from Japan, from Brazil. Schools across Germany talked about Knut in class. What is the right thing to do for a wild animal born in a zoo? Most children and most teachers, too, said the same thing. Let Thomas care for him. Let Knut live. The zoo director came to the fence and spoke clearly. Knut is healthy. Knut is loved. Knut is staying. The crowd outside the gates cheered. On a bright, cold Saturday in March of 2007, the gates swung open wide. Knut was ready to meet the world. By 7 in the morning, the path to the polar bear enclosure was already packed. Children sat up on their father's shoulders. Grandmothers held small hands and stretched on their toes to see. The air smelled like popcorn and cold wool coats. Hundreds of cameras blinked like a field of tiny white stars. Then, from behind a low wooden door, a round white shape came tumbling out. Knut. He waddled across the stones with a very serious face. He sniffed the cold railing. he sat down, looked at the enormous crowd, and blinked. 1,000 people held their breath at once. Then the crowd erupted. Knut, Knut. Thomas walked beside him. Knut turned back every few steps to check that Thomas was still there. Thomas gave a small nod. Knut moved forward. Newspapers around the world printed his photograph. Magazines in Germany, France, Japan, and Argentina put Knut on their covers. Letters arrived from children in every country. Many had drawings inside, polar bears with Knut's name spelled carefully in crayon. Toy shops made small plush bears with round black noses, just like Knut. They sold out within hours. This wonderful commotion got a special name, Knut Mania. That year, 3,200,000 people came to the Berlin Zoo. That was nearly 700,000 more visitors than the year before. It was the most successful year in the zoo's 163 years of history. All because of one small white bear. Knut kept growing through 2007 and into 2008. By his first birthday in December of 2007, he weighed 50 kilograms. That is as heavy as a large dog or a small adult person. Children at the zoo sang him a birthday song. He put his big round paws on the railing and listened. He seemed to understand that something warm was happening. Crowds still came to see him every day, even as he grew large. He would pace along the fence, flicking his white ears. He seemed to recognize regular visitors by their smell and their voices. As months passed, Thomas had to step back from the enclosure. A grown polar bear's paw is wide as a dinner plate. Knut was never angry. He was gentle, even as a large bear. But Thomas knew what was safe and what was not. He still came to the fence every single day. He still spoke in his low, even voice. And Knut still walked over to listen. Then, in September of 2008, Thomas fell suddenly ill. His heart gave out. He was 44 years old. He never got to see Knut grow old. The zoo was very quiet for many days after the news. Knut lived on for nearly 3 more years. He swam in his pool and caught silver fish from a keeper's hand. He lay in the thin, pale Berlin sunshine with his eyes half closed. Then, in March of 2011, Knut grew suddenly and terribly sick. A rare disease reached his brain and he could not be saved. He was only 4 years old. The city went quiet. People left flowers outside the zoo gates. Children drew pictures of Knut and taped them to the fence. A newspaper wrote simply, "He touched every heart he met." But Knut did not disappear. His skeleton was carefully and lovingly preserved. It stands today in the Museum für Naturkunde, Berlin's great natural history museum. The building is old and grand, with tall stone windows. Light falls in long golden bars across the marble floor. Knut's case stands in a quiet gallery among other animals of the natural world. Visitors can walk right up and look at him. If you visit Berlin, you can go to that museum. You can stand next to the real bones of the real Knut. You can think once this bear was smaller than a guinea pig. Once a quiet man named Thomas slept on a cold floor just to keep him warm. And once more visitors came to this city than it had ever seen before. All to see one small white bear. That is the true story of Knut. That is the true story of Berlin. And so Berlin also slowly fell asleep. Good night.